We have seen the severity of the illness playing out to date, as the early indications were, I think it's fair to say, Brendan. That is potentially quite a game changer with the pandemic around the world, about how the virus may well step down.
A characteristically upbeat pitch from the PM today, followed by a more cautious one from his Health Department Secretary.
But we still need to learn more. We have to get information from other countries who now have significant clusters of this virus.
Those divergent takes capture the mood of the world. 2 weeks into the nervous wait for solid data on the Omicron variant. The early numbers are painting an interesting picture.
Almost a 255% of increase during the past 7 days in terms of the number of cases.
A Japanese study has found Omicron is 4 times more transmissible than Delta's early stage. But there's hopeful new data out of South Africa. Only 6.3% of patients hospitalised are ending up in ICU, extremely low compared with the country's Delta outbreak in July.
We see a lot of people who have that Omicron variant and who are infected with it, but they're less ill.
While it does seem Omicron has some vaccine resistance, Pfizer has released early findings that immunity can be restored with a booster. It expects a 4th shot may be needed down the line.
3 doses of our vaccine against Omicron basically is equivalent to 2 doses of our vaccine with the original strains.
So there's a cautious optimism in the air, but that in itself could be the real danger, with the WHO warning that complacency could be our undoing.
We're running out of ways to say this, but we will keep saying it. Any complacency now will cost lives.
University of Melbourne epidemiologist Professor Nancy Baxter joins us now. Nancy, everyone is so ready for a holiday. Can you please just tell us that it is going to be all right?
No, I can't. I think, though, that it's in our power to make it all right. And what do I mean by that? We've seen in Sydney, anyway, a number of super spreader events that have been related to holiday gatherings for the holidays. And I get it. People want to relax. They want to get together. But COVID hasn't gone away. So what we need to do is we need to kind of really, truly understand how this is spread. And it's an airborne virus, so it's spread in the air. So if we want to get together with each other, we need to think about, trying to minimize that spread. So outside. So if you can, move your gathering outside. That is the safest place for you to have your Christmas gathering. If you're inside, think of it like there's a smoker in the room and the room is filled with secondhand smoke. So do anything you do to get rid of secondhand smoke in the room. So open doors, open windows, HEPA filters, that type of thing, whatever you need to do. Think about, if you're inside, clean, safe air. Because, what we do now will affect the numbers that we get to. And we can prevent getting to huge numbers in January by doing some things now that stop the spread. Because the spread's exponential. That means that it doubles. It'll double in a certain period of time. So if we stop that from doubling, what we can do is change the trajectory of the outbreak. Hopefully we'll never have to go into lockdown again. But if we just all kind of do our thing and party like it's 2019, then we may well be facing something like that where our healthcare system's overwhelmed.
Nancy, that is really awful news. I think we're all just looking forward to dancing and partying and seizing the opportunity that is in front of us now after these 2 really difficult years. Do you think, as a community, we are actually prepared to not do all of that stuff when the authorities, governments are telling us, actually, you can now go out, you do have your freedom back to a pretty significant degree? It's
Australia. I'm Canadian. Maybe it's not possible for New Year's Eve in Toronto to be able to take it outside. That is completely possible in Australia. Take it outside.
So, Nancy, what I'm hearing is we can go outside and then we can party like it's 1999.
2019, but 1999, sure.
I think what I'm hearing is that Nancy loves a bush doof.
Invite me. I've got no plans. For New Year's Eve, so invite me.
Nancy, you definitely deserve a dance after the last few years. I want to ask you, though, if 90% of us are fully vaccinated, isn't that the point of the vaccination rollout, that this virus can sweep through and we don't end up with thousands of people dying?
Well, first of all, 90% of us aren't vaccinated. So we have a lot of people that have not had access to vaccines because they haven't been eligible for it. And those are children. So we know that children are getting COVID, they're spreading COVID, and schools are closing because of COVID. So I think it's really important that we keep things under control until we're able to protect our children adequately. Fantastic news from ATAGI that they're recommending vaccinations for children 5 to 11. It's the right decision to make, and I encourage all parents to get out there and get their kids vaccinated. But honestly, COVID's never going to become the common cold. It's never going to become just like the flu. So we're going to have to adapt to COVID. Like if we want to live with COVID, we have to adapt to COVID. And that means understanding how COVID's transmitted, airborne, and doing what we can to reduce it. Vaccines are a huge part of that. And kudos to the Australian people. We've become one of the most vaccinated vaccinated places in the world. What we needed was supply, and then we did the job. But we can't just leave it there. Otherwise, we're going to have lots of people sick, people dying that don't have to. We just have to take steps now that reduce that kind of really exponential rise that we're seeing in so many countries that aren't doing that.
Nancy, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.